is really like, I entered my role, interestingly. I was assistant at our school for 4 years. So, and then my teammates completely switched this year. So, my two teammates I had in the ELA department completely turned over. So that's been interesting. Um, so as far as me, it's been really great. And like the other teachers are like, oh, wait, this is amazing. There's like a team. I'm not by myself. Like, how does this work? And so I kind of had to let them get their feet about them first to see how this is how it works. So it's been going really, really well. Definitely applying a lot of what I learned in the spring. I think starting this in the spring and going into the fall is amazing. I can't imagine trying to do this unit plan in the spring, working with curriculum and that sort of thing. And so that was in my feedback for sure. The unit plan is definitely like, it makes me feel like a student because I had it done. Like I'm saying where you are, Nate, and like, 2 weeks ago, and it just takes like 12 hours to freaking put it all together and like paste it and organize it and get it so someone outside of your brain can understand it. And so I nailed that down and out this weekend. And so I do feel like a student because I feel like it's like, why do I have to do it this way? It's done. Why do I have to format it this way? It's done, And so I think my students feel that way as well. So it definitely helps with me understanding when they're like, eh. I'm like, yeah, I feel that. Let me see if I can tweak this and make it be better for you, and that sort of thing. So
a little bit of context around that. So so obviously Aspire sometimes get some crap, right? Like it's a year long. These teachers never taught before. How can you possibly say that that's at the same rigor as like getting your 4-year degree in education or getting your 2 years? And it's not, right? But they use the same thing. We've changed the formatting a little bit, but like if your senior year, if you went all 4 years, you're doing this for your capstone.
Absolutely.
2 years master's, you turn this. So like, yes, there is some kind of like, yeah, I totally agree. There's some crap for lack of better words.
Well, it's just being a student again, know, like it made me feel like I majored in public relations and it made me feel like my PR thesis, like every PR thesis, 90% done, except it wasn't done. I had to put it all together and cite the evidence and link it all together and all that. So, I'm excited too, because I think it'll help. I think it'll help for our professional license. I think it's similar to what we need and it lines up with the goals and the standards. So I'm planning on keeping all that. Like I downloaded again, all my Athena videos because I wasn't sure if I had them to save.
That's smart, folks. If you do that can help. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm looking at too. I'm like, cross my fingers. I think a lot of this will apply for that from going from initial to professional.
Yep. And Suzanne, our director, always says, yes, it's laborious. Yes, it's in the weeds. You do it once and then you can go through that process in your head, right? You don't have to cross off those same boxes or write the same paragraphs, but you can kind of in your head think of it in the stages or some of the things you covered in the stages. And then it's more automatic where that first time, it's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot, which is why I want scheduled it for you guys. So basically that's it this whole semester, right? So
yeah, that's nice.
As much of that off the plate as possible. That's cool. Also, I'm on a committee in the School of Education to try to streamline that a little bit, or at least find some wiggle room that can maybe meet people's context better. Essentially, with the undergrads, they're either given a curriculum they have to teach, which sucks because they can't plan it, or they plan something and then their lead teacher always tells them they don't have time to teach it or something. So you either adapt something that's given to you or plan something hypothetical you never teach, which really is not great. So I'm curious if we can find a way to make it more applicable for them. If we can do that, then we have a leeway to make it more applicable for 1-year licensure too. So I'm trying, and it'll just take a long time.
Yeah, no worries.
Awesome. Lynn, what's up? How are you feeling? How is this year different than last? How's the unit plan?
How's this year compared to last? I agree with Nate. I feel much more relaxed and comfortable not that I was uncomfortable before, but I feel better prepared as far as planning and just everything. It feels more streamlined. We do have a new director at our school, which is kind of throwing a kink. It's the opposite of you, Nate. It hasn't been entirely positive. She's a wonderful human being, but maybe not. she's coming in hot, like trying to change everything right off the bat instead of like spending the first 6 months even just figuring out the program. Yeah, so that's been a bit challenging. But overall, I feel positive. The unit plan, I think I said my update, it's gone a lot better than I thought. I know
Yeah, I was really, really happy to hear that.
Now I said that, and then on last Friday, they all sat there.
You jinxed yourself.
like nothing, there was nothing, but, I teach it five times a week at 5 different locations, and Tuesday and Thursday kids, I mean, oh my gosh. They especially did amazing. I kind of regret not picking them, but they were the easy choice. So, why do anything easy? They're getting there. I have one more unit to film, and that's Fridays, and then I'll put it all together.
Awesome. That's great. Good to hear.
Yep.
Thanks so much. Mr. Krause, how you doing?
Doing well. Had a staff meeting beforehand, so I had like an hour or so here to unwind.
Was it bad?
What's that?
Was it bad?
It was like a teacher appreciation.
Oh, that's good.
So it wasn't like sitting around listening to, I don't know. It wasn't as grueling as some meetings previously.
Some can be brutal.
Yeah. But nonetheless, I like to start. I was like listening to people talking about or listening to others reflect on last year versus this year. And I actually started like at this exact time last year in the same unit. And so I was like looking over my original materials and comparing them. I honestly kind of scrapped that all and started anew.
Yeah.
And I feel like I challenged my students a lot more than I did initially. I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable with, what I can challenge them with. And I don't know, it was interesting to look at that because I felt like initially I was kind of just, I don't know, all over the place, and I feel a little bit more focused with this unit plan. So, yeah, I noticed that. And then as far as the unit plan itself, I'm actually in the process of filming my last, my 3-day segment.
Awesome.
I started on Monday, and then I'll be finishing up tomorrow. But I feel good with where I'm at. I definitely am moving on to the reflection piece. But there was one thing that I wanted to mention, and I'm blanking on it right now. But yeah, I'm at a point where I've planned it all out. I'm done some of that tedious, formatting that Julie was speaking to. But I'm comfortable with where I'm at. Like I said, I'm trying to. I felt like I had to omit like a couple of days because the Christmas week is right there in the middle of it. But I did some thinking to my planning, and I'm trying to fit it in. And then we have spotty attendance when it comes around holidays, so I'm in a good place. We're doing our unit assessment, our summative assessment on Thursday, and I have this really neat. And so I've taken a gallery walk and created it in PowerPoint in such a way that it's a digital gallery walk.
Oh, sweet.
I noticed that kids were not, especially in the morning classes, were not enthusiastic about getting up and moving around the room. And with the amount of desk I have and the limited amount of space, it's been a really engaging activity. And so I've gotten to use it a couple times and gotten some good data from it. So
that's cool. One resource for that, by the way, if anybody's interested in trying out digital gallery walks, there's a resource called Padlet. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. It's just essentially just like a blank screen, like website, but you can put like videos, pictures, other stuff, and kids can comment under each thing you put on it. I'm not sure how you did. How did you do it, Jeff?
I used people's slides, and then I created like links to other slides, and so some slides would be videos.
Cool.
It looked really cool. Kids that don't have computers at home, it was really neat on a mobile device. So it was engaging. It was the same content that otherwise would be in a in a handout that they would annotate, but there was a little bit of a gimmick and salesmanship to it. So
that's good.
it's bought in.
Cool. I wanted to share a couple of things that's relevant to you in my life. One is that in 2 weeks, Julia, one of the other allies, and I are going to present at a conference in Dallas around the way that we use video coaching and video to connect teachers in different geographic locations and different contents, essentially using video to like bridge divides. And for me, it was really like you all were an inspiration for that. It was really cool to see the way that, you're all spring starters where you kind of like started at different points and you're all getting your feet wet, but then you connected with each other. You found ways to like riff off of each other, be it in content areas like Nate and Lynn, or, just off of each other in the meeting, which is really cool. So I wanted to shout you guys out for that. Like, we're going to be able to present at this conference, and hopefully, Nate, it's a good conference. I don't know. We'll see what we can do. But it's because of the stuff that you've done, and it's really cool. I like this group is great. Sometimes I get on these remote calls and it's not a lot of fun, but you guys have found a way to like connect, make it cool, make it worthwhile, realizing that digital is never going to be as rich as in person, but I feel like we've crafted a pretty rich environment in our small group, which is really cool. And sort of related to that, I'm getting some clarity on my dissertation, still a ways out. But I think a lot of you, I owe you a lot of credit for sparking the idea of what I want to do. Essentially, I want to look at in teacher prep programs when, and I don't know how possible this is going to be, and I need to figure out the methods to exactly capture it, but when and why do you start to see teachers thinking about like culture, equity, justice versus I've got to have like a bunch of activities strung together tomorrow to teach my class, and like I'd like to do this stuff, or I'd like to center kids, or I'd like to center culture. I just can't do it right now. I'm too busy. But each of you have found a time to like make a move to center the kids' culture in your classroom. And so kind of some of the moments that I've seen in your videos and in your work has kind of sparked that idea. So moving forward, I'm going to be looking for those moments in teachers. But I think like just looking at you all on this call, like you've all hit that at some point. And I might be looping back to you in the future just to pick your brains about what made that happen, why, when, that type of stuff. But I'm really interested in that. And I would be interested too to see like, are there moments in the year where teachers aren't open to this? Like it could be the tough times like now or like February. I feel like all my fall teachers are really, really struggling right now. It's their first November teaching and they're just dying. And like trying to like load on some of the culture work or the more like theoretical sticky stuff now might not be the best move. So that's another thing I'm looking at is like, how do you feel about that and when, and like, what are the factors? I think that would help us as a program know like when to sort of push the theory, when to sort of push the practice, or just kind of rethink getting there in general. But those are like two things I'm excited about. And like I said, I owe you guys a lot of credit for that as well. And I appreciate that a lot. Thanks.
And I want to say we owe you a lot of credit for that, just because, as far as me being a first year and going through the ropes here, I mean, there's been so many things that you've hit on that like have just been so transparent in the classroom. It was just like, I learned about it from you. And then next thing I knew, it was like, okay, I can apply this in my classroom. And without that, I would have been lost. And I think it did go smooth as far as the whole program goes of time management and time just, when we did certain things. It felt like it was a smooth transition into it. And then when the coursework came and stuff, yeah, that was a more intensive time, but that also needed to happen at that time too, to make us kind of push forward and go further.
That's really cool. I appreciate that, Nate. Thanks. That's cool. I think scheduling in this program is like the hardest part, right? Like special education is very important. Where do you put that? Literacy is very important. Where do you put that? Language, it's really hard. You can make an argument to shuffle this stuff all the way around, completely different. So yeah, we're constantly thinking about that, but that feedback's great. And, thanks. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed working with you all.
So normal is that people get hired in the fall and they start right away, right? That's like normal.
Yeah, normal, you probably like say you get hired in like July or June, or if you're lucky, like April. And then, yeah, like mid-August, you're sort of like, we're like starting to be in contact. I might open up some of the like very early modules, or at least we're like touching base. And then it's like literacy, and then it's the survey, and then it's CLDE, like all the language stuff that is required is good, but it's a lot and it's required. and then the unit plan, and then somewhere in there finding ways to get special education and restorative practices.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to have the course start in spring.
Mm.
You know, because you do like you kind of know where you suck, you kind of know where you're good, and you also have like some sort of like planning-esque about you, and you know your coursework. Like I think it'd be like I'm so glad I started in the spring because I was more open to feedback. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Yeah,
like,
I agree. I can't imagine doing this starting when I just started.
no, and with parent teacher conferences and like what?
How overwhelming it all is anyway. And I feel like starting in the spring, you're planning, but you're not so set in your ways because you've only been doing it for a couple months.
Right.
And you're more,
And in summer to bang out like 1 or 2 units, I forget what we banged out in the summer, like that just made sense to me because I also was more open to like what Lynn said, like I kind of have enough about me to know like what is a plan, like what am I trying to achieve, but like, oh, okay, here's a few different structures to make your plan more organized and more purposeful.
And don't you feel like, I mean, sometimes, at least for me, I get overwhelmed by options and choices. And if I was doing this when I was just starting out, I would feel like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. I have to do this. I have to try this. I have to try this. Versus kind of knowing, hey, that will probably fit really well in my program, or this is something I can do next week. So
this is all good feedback. Any other thoughts, Nate or Jeff, just about the timing and such?
Yeah, I was just gonna say too, I kind of look at it as like my drawing courses. I let the kids kind of struggle their first, week or so on what they're gonna do, how they're gonna get it designed, what kind of materials they're gonna use and all that. And you kind of let them pick and choose. And then I come in and I just kind of like solidify that. And then I'm just like, okay, pumping ideas and like pushing them further. And that's kind of what you've done for us as far as like, you let us kind of get our feet wet with teaching, see what we're about, what we like, what we don't like. And then it was like, okay, now this is what you need to do. And that really helped me kind of focus on the whole overall plan of it.
That's cool. That's awesome. Jeff, did you have any thoughts? Yeah, I don't want to put you on the spot. If you don't have anything, sure, you don't have to, but I just want to give
I felt like it was, perfect for me to start the program as well in the spring, because again, I had this, it would have been last year, but I had like end of October, November, December to acclimate and kind of just get used to being a full-time teacher and like being at the school and forming relationships with like my peers. And then I just feel like, and I don't know if it's the nature of all schools, but at least at my schools, they really pile it on, and they pile it on additionally onto new teachers, and their meetings and all these things. So if I was juggling the new teacher meetings, which end in the spring, which this program started for me, plus having to do the CU, it would have been, I think, an additional stress, to be honest,
Gotcha.
With the stress of starting the year as a brand new teacher, having the new teacher stuff, and having to do the fall semester. So
yeah, that's cool. Awesome. That's all good feedback. It's kind of cool. I had a guy who just came on maybe like a month ago, and so he's kind of in the middle. I was like, you can really bust it hard and get caught up, or you can chill until January. And he was thinking about it. He's like, why wouldn't I? What's the bad part about chilling until January? I'm like, nothing. That's actually what I would recommend. He's like, yeah, let's do that. I'm like, all right, cool. It's a good decision. Yeah, that's awesome. That's good feedback. Thanks a lot, folks. I appreciate that. Cool. I wanted to dig in real quick. Just take a look at, I was going to look at 5. Does anybody need to look at 4? Does anybody want to like look at that? It's pretty straightforward. Hopefully everybody's seeing it. Cool. It seems like we're good there. Cool. I'm going to, sorry. Yeah. Cool. You all right there, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm just seeing if I can see screens. I can see faces, but I can't see screens.
If you want to just open up that Google Slides link that I had in the email too, we're going to go to the part 5 slide, which when I share, I'll be able to tell you what that is.
Okay, so you're not sharing your screen. You want us to open that?
No, I will share the screen for Jeff. Since he's on a phone, you didn't see it. So I'll share it now. Sorry.
That was just a chat.
No problem. Just a second. I'm not seeing the screen come up. Hold on. There's been an update to Zoom, and it's been a little weird. Like I have to like minimize sorry, I'm recording. I need to